Good morning. Welcome back to KHTS, your hometown station. This is the Legacy Hour. I'm Andrew Cohen. I'm an estate planning attorney, and I'm here with my guest, Ryan Moore, today. We're going to be talking about various topics on the show, and today is the 5 biggest mistakes in estate planning. Welcome, Ryan.
Good morning.
How are you
Glad to be here. I'm good. I'm great. It's a beautiful day in Santa Clarita.
It is. It's going to be nice today.
I woke up today.
That's a good one. Now, when I hear Legacy, we had music, the Beatles, Hey Jude, that song. I hear that, and I smile. I've been to concerts, cover bands in the park, and they always end the show with that, and everyone is happy. And makes me think of my mom when I was little. She listened to the Beatles all the time. I did. I've got 2 boys now, and a bit of news for later in the show, and they love it. They listen to it all the time. So I think it's really important is to have a legacy for your family. In anything you do, family first. Ryan has some interesting news recently.
Yeah, I just had a son back May 22nd, so we're in week 7, so that's new. And number 2 makes you start thinking about what you want for your children.
Yeah.
You kind of face your mortality every day when you have a child. 2 makes you start thinking about it twice as much because you're not sleeping, and then you're busy during the day, and you're like, you look around, you see what's in the world, and like you said with Hey Jude, you start thinking, like, what am I going to leave them? Do I want to leave them better off, the same, worse? The answer is never the last 2.
Right. It's all that. You know, before I had kids, it was me and my wife. I knew I wanted kids. And you have kids, and you just see the world differently. All the things in The Simpsons that people railed about when it first came on and I watched, now you see it differently. You see things on different shows, people acting, doing different things. And you want to leave them, their piece of the world, in as good a place as possible while everyone's still alive, and that scary time for later when you might not be in as good of health or beyond. So,
yeah, I mean, you know, when you talk about The Simpsons and all that, or whether it's Family Guy, my daughter is 3, and sometimes we have to not let her watch that.
Really? She's a Stewie fan?
She is a Stewie fan. You know, we have, as human beings, we have a great capacity for denial. And, you know, the one fact what you're talking about legacy planning is there's going to be a point when we all shuffle off this mortal coil. And for me, I face it every day in the work that I do, and it's trying to figure out how to help people. You know, we have to accept it, but what do we do to make that legacy? What are we doing to build it?
Definitely. It's so true. And there's not necessarily the right time to do it. The best time to start thinking about and doing planning for yourself, your kids, even work with your parents, is now. Now's always a better time. You know, you hear 2 things guaranteed in life, is death and taxes. And I would argue that that's sort of 1 and 1A, because not everyone pays taxes. We can work to reduce that. You'll pay some. But everyone dies, and that's just a fact. And I find, as you find, you know, you and I, we talk all the time. People just stick their head in the sand and don't want to deal with these issues. They think if they have a conversation, this cartoon anvil is going to fall on their head like Wile E. Coyote because they talked about it, and something's going to happen. And some superstitions are based in fact, right? We all know that.
But if that were true, Andrew, people would be dropping off like flies.
Exactly. They'd be dropping off. Anyone that we spoke to, we'd be like Jessica Fletcher. It'd be the Grim Reaper. Wherever I go, someone's going to die, and there's a murder to solve. Yeah. So that's not the case. But not doing anything about it. And this leads into topic today, 5 biggest mistakes in estate planning. Number one, not doing anything about it is leave a mess for your family, for your spouse, your loved ones, your kids, whoever's going to try and handle it. You know, I've got 1,000 stories. You have 1,001.
It's something we see every day, not planning. And it is, you know, when I meet people, Andrew, you know, I have to be honest with them, and I say, love me or hate me, right? I'm okay with either one. The worst thing that can happen from this conversation is you continue to do nothing.
Yep.
And it's a horrible feeling for me, not because I wasn't able to do any business, quote unquote, but because I wasn't able to do anything helpful.
Exactly. I really, really like the aspect of law that I practice, estate planning, subspecialty. And I like it because I like to help people, and I feel like I'm doing something good. Like you know, I see my kids all the time, and I want to do the right thing for them. And this is good. It's not confrontational. You're trying to help people, and educate people.
I mean, you know, you say we each have a million stories. The best story that I have about sticking your head in the sand is my own. You know, I had a daughter. My family's been estate planning. My parents, they've put everything in place. I have a daughter, and I waited 2 years to talk to you about it.
Right.
And then it was like,
I'm not going to push you.
Well, I gotta, sometimes I need to be pushed. I think we all need to be a little bit pushed. But my own story is, why did I wait so long? I have a home. I live here in Santa Clarita, along with the other 300,000 people. I want her to go to school. I want her to do these things. I want to make sure my wife's protected. Don't want to lose everything to taxes. And I waited. I waited 2 years.
Right.
Why
do you think you waited? Why do you think you waited?
Partly because of the work that I do. I put a lot of things into place. I just didn't do it as good as I knew I could have. And so I was like, well, 50% is better than nothing. I'm really busy.
But there's always a cost involved.
Always a cost.
Always a cost. But I think, to me, and I can't speak for you, maybe you'll agree or not, there's a certain level of anxiety. We talked before and we just sort of poke fun at folks that want to stick their head in the sand. But there's a certain level of anxiety. I know when it came time for me to sign my own paperwork, my own trust, my own life insurance documents. Well, let me hold that thought for a second. Okay. We need to take a break. This has been great, Ryan. Thank you. We'll be right back with Ryan Moore on KHTS 1220, Hometown Station.